I'm going to say something very tough love here. As a person with childhood PTSD, you can ask a person to understand you and your sensitivities, and you can even ask them to help you avoid getting triggered. But you know what? They are not obliged to do any of it. That doesn't mean they don't love you, and it doesn't mean they don't support you. In fact, when they give you space to notice your own trauma reactions and to work on those right in here, it might be the best and most loving, supportive thing that they can do. My name is Anna Runkle, also known as the Crappy Childhood Fairy, and I'm going to tell you why, even though you've been told a lot of things to the contrary, that you don't actually have a right to that understanding and that support. It is your right to ask for what you want, for what you think would be helpful, but trying to force other people to help you manage your trauma reactions isn't fair and it isn't going to work. Okay, what do I mean? Things like telling them not to talk about something in front of you, not to drink around you, not to use certain language, even though they know you find it triggering. It's not fair to them. And in fact, from you, it's a form of control. And everyone in our lives has the right not to be controlled by us. You have the right to ask, and you have the right not to spend time with that person, but they have the right to be themselves. Now, someone who cares about you might be willing to change the way they do things if you ask them. And then again, they might not. And PTSD thinking will tell you that someone you love, who you're attached to, who's doing something that bothers you, like owes it to you to change. But I want to teach you why, in any situation where you're not actually restrained, that these people aren't actually doing anything to you. They're just being themselves. You may not like it, but they're not preventing your healing. So, right now, you might be thinking, what is she talking about? But that's what I'm saying. When people do their own thing and give you space to work out your own triggers and learn to calm your own PTSD symptoms, you then have an opportunity to learn the only thing that really works or can be sustained. And that is self regulation. Because you regulate it, well, first of all, you get to decide if you don't want to be around that person. I mean, you don't like people drinking? Maybe don't be around people drinking. When your brain is regulated, and I teach people how to do that in my free course, which I'll talk about in a minute. When your brain is regulated, you might see more clearly that this person you're with is a schmuck, or they're a bully, or they drink too much. Maybe you ask them to change once or twice. If you ask them 3 times and they still don't change, now you're up against it. To ask any more at this point is an attempt to control them. And even if you succeed at making them do something, it's not going to bring that harmony and the good feeling of being supported and understood that we all crave. So at that point, if change isn't going to happen, you either have to let go of your grievance or leave the relationship. Because if you push and nag and repeat and demand that they change, it'll only suck the soul out of you and everybody else around you. It's such a nice idea that if someone else would change, we'd be okay. But even when you get someone to strike that bargain with you, to try to fix you by being what you want, you only put your CPTSD into like a hermetically sealed chamber. What prompts our healing is actually friction, pain. People do their thing around us and we get triggered. It's impossible to control or avoid. That's why so many people with childhood trauma end up retreating, getting as far away from people as they can. It might prevent triggers, but it also prevents fulfillment. And everyone craves to be loved, and not just by pets. Pets are great, but we also need humans. So our challenge is to stay away from those people who would abuse us, and with everyone else, to be at peace with people as they are. So, peace with other people comes with accepting, knowing that healing happens in here. Other people in our lives, they matter. Their behavior matters, but they don't have the power to heal us. And even if they were willing to try, they couldn't do it. They can potentially provide a calm, safe environment. Not everyone can do that, but they might. And they can encourage us when we're freaked out to get out our tools and deal with the disturbance within. Now, for me, the tools are pen and paper, and I'll get to that. But you'll be amazed when you learn to regulate your trauma symptoms, the overreactions, the unreasonableness, the demands we put on other people, because it just seems like all that's needed is for them to change something about themselves. you'll be amazed how much easier it is for other people to love you and be close to you. If you've ever tried to love a traumatized person, you know what I mean. You want to help the other person and you don't want to see them suffer, but no matter what you do, the trauma-driven thinking and behavior that you're showing you, it's just like going round and round and you can't get through to them. So yes, love helps. But when someone with complex PTSD gets into that looping, scared, angry, sad thing that we get into, they can't respond. They can't receive love. There may have been a moment when just a little hug would have done the trick, but that moment is past. And this is where two people can fall into a vicious spiral where everything you say just makes it worse and worse. And then you process and you process, and it goes on and on until both people are just too emotionally exhausted to even put their thoughts into words. So what do? When you're in that place where you want to make a demand on someone, it usually means it's time to do what I call stop and drop. Stop the action that's escalating conflict, usually talking, and drop into a chair where you can start writing your fears and resentments. That's the special technique that I keep referring to, and I will share that with you. But when you get relief from the fearful and resentful thoughts, things get clearer. The, the fire burns off, and the truth is just sitting there like cool to the touch. And what it is it's not your fault that you were abused and neglected as a kid, but now it's you. You're the one who needs to stop acting on the trauma. And it's time to learn and try things and notice your triggers when they happen and develop techniques to calm them. Now, some people will be very open to learning what you're working on and they'll support you, but probably not when you're yelling at them. It kind of defeats the purpose, right? So, how do we do that? Get neutral. Now, you'll hear me talk about this a lot. It helps if you stop talking about it. Now, when you're triggered and you know it, pause. Your thinking is getting dysregulated. And if it's anger, then by definition, it's going to feel unreasonable to other people. It's an argument you'd be better off not having. If you have to argue, just remind yourself you can do it later. Later's better. When you're regulated again, when you can choose your words and not just have them fly out of your mouth like daggers, you can talk about it then. Now, all of this would be crazy talk if there wasn't, in fact, a way to get regulated. But we can do that. It starts with owning the problem, not blaming other people that we feel that way, not with our words, not with our minds, because healing can only really move forward when we can just recognize, oh, I'm having a reaction. And then, this is the hard part, resist the urge to say a lot about how you're feeling. You can say something like, oh dear, I'm having one of my reactions. Hold on a sec while I get myself sorted out. But you don't have to treat your triggered feelings like an honored guest. You don't have to roll out the red carpet for the Queen of England and with trumpets and flags that say, I'm so hurt. You can just give yourself a little time out with a pen, piece of paper, and use my daily practice technique to discharge those triggered feelings. Put some space around them. It looks like you're writing a note to yourself, so no one even has to know what you're doing. It's very elegant like that, very dignified. And it buys you time to have a different reaction, to be present in a way that someone who loves you can understand. And that's a good thing when it happens. But the nicest feeling of all is knowing that whatever happens, whatever present day reaction rises up out of your childhood trauma, you'll be able to deal with it. You'll keep your boundaries. Gradually, you'll be able to open your heart to all the love and fun that life has to offer for you. And that is what it means to feel free, that whatever happens, that you will be capable of responding as your real self.